Okay, I burnt some wood again. It was so much fun. I love burning wood. I sketched it, I burnt it. Come on, let's go do it together. My pyrography set really lets me draw like I do with a pencil. I lightly sketch my subject and then I start my burning. Caution about this tool, it's extremely hot, and be safe. Always read your manual of how to handle this safely. I love my cake turntable because it can always help me slightly adjust it as I'm drawing, and when I'm going against the grain, sometimes it's tricky to make a smooth lines. When I'm burning my wood, I'm starting to see where my shadows might be. So I start to even apply some dark elements to different places, and of course you're going to see throughout this entire video, I go back and forth to look at where those shapes and shades might fall. To say that drawing the stem and something super delicate is something that I had to take some time to just gently do because I didn't want to make a heavy line. Some of my leaves I like to make a heavy line and my petals, but the little stems on these guys, I wanted it to be real thin. Some of these leaves are starting to take shape so I can burn it more deeply. And I do adjust my heat a couple of times on my pyrography set. Make sure that the nibs are hot enough. But again, use caution when you're adjusting heat, especially with this hot burning tool. Now the center of my flower, I'm starting to think about my light source, and I don't want to make a full cover of the center of my flower so that I can show that nice 3D and depth effect. I do not make all of my lines the same thickness. Some parts of the lines of the petals and of the leaves are thicker and thinner, and this contrast for me is very entertaining to the eye. And as you saw from the beginning, I did a very light and loose sketch. Just wanted to do a form of a flower. In looking at it, I decide I want to add another petal to the right and make it more full. As you can see throughout this video, I do prop it up and see it from different perspectives. You can also step back away from your subject, my piece of wood here, and get a different perspective as well. My goal at this point, since most of my sketch has been burned into the wood surface, is to really look at it as a full composition and make sure that I have my shading correctly. So I'm just really focusing in on the depth of this little sketch. The nib that I'm using has a straight edge and a pretty fine point. This allows me to do two things at once. It allows me to do my thin lines, and it also allows me to do some shading. Whenever I'm done with my wood burning, I go back with a white eraser and I do erase those fine lines from the sketch that I did at the beginning. As I'm approaching my final shading, I am just touching up a little bit, and I'm pretty satisfied. Thanks so much for joining me today, and I am wishing you happy wood burning, safe wood burning. Always wishing you happy creations.